iRacing and IndyCar are back together again, and I have a lot of egg on my face. And yeah, I'm keeping the terrible local news intro because I just like it too much and I don't want to take myself too seriously being a video essayist or whatever these YouTubers are called these days. So you'll probably read the news by now, but today, January 9th, at the stroke of noon Eastern time, very conveniently, Adam Stern of Sports Business Journal, iRacing, and IndyCar, they all put out statements announcing the return of the iRacing and IndyCar license to the platform. You already know like the backstory of this, how everything went down a year ago, iRacing losing the license to IndyCar, walking away from the license and all that stuff that thankfully is in the past now, but was not that long ago to the point where I thought maybe this would not be possible. When that went down, iRacing lost their own Indianapolis 500. They lost being able to use real-world tracks in the iRacing schedules for the IndyCar series in the game. Most notably, it also meant the end of broadcasted races, which was really like kind of the backbone of the community. At the time, this news felt like a death blow. No one really knew what was going to happen next, how long it was going to be gone, if it would ever return. And frankly, it was a gigantic act of stupidity on the part of IndyCar on a number of different levels. Now, of course, those two things historically have gone hand in hand together between, IndyCar and their decision making. And by the way, the current guy in charge of the series, he's not a veteran of just one split. He's a veteran of two splits, okay? He was on one side of a split in 96 with CART, and he was on the other side of a split back when CART was formed when they broke away from USAC. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, how much does Roger Penske actually care about this, or how much he's personally involved? From everything I read, Roger Penske is definitely someone who's like a micromanager. For better or for worse, he's someone who has his hands in a lot of different things. My only evidence for why he cares is rather anecdotal, but I personally believe that this actually is of somewhat importance to him, maybe if he doesn't even understand all the ins and outs of it, but again, he's the CEO, he's got his people that can do that for him. So were there previous signs that this was eventually going to happen? Yes. Again, back in November when IndyCar walked away from their deal with Motorsport Games, that was a sign that this could happen. It wasn't proof that was going to happen, and there's only so much I could know. As just a member of the public, as a consumer, I'm only privy to so much. So I was not convinced it was going to happen. I talked about the details, and again, a lot of it had to do with just the existing bad relationship between the two sides. And notably, I don't actually remember if I talked about this too much, but there's a lot of issues with the drivers using the platform, notably Joseph Newgarden talking about the tire model and, being rather critical of it. And he was right, the road tire model was not good, and iRacing did actually respond and change as a result. But that kind of bad blood was there. Was that the reason they lost the license? No, I don't think so, over just criticism of a tire model and changes that were made. But nevertheless, that was probably one little thing amongst many others we probably don't even know about. So as I said in that video, I wanted to be wrong, and I am very, very glad that I'm wrong. So there's multiple outlets that have this story, but we're looking at iRacing's official page because they have some specific details I want to talk about. There you can see it with a fancy new graphic. IndyCar returns. The new agreement includes rights to the IndyCar series and return of the iRacing Indianapolis 500, which, as a team, that's kind of important to us. So it talks about the relationship they had in the past, the importance of the iRacing Indianapolis 500, which is one of the most participated events in of all the official events in the iRacing calendar. It had one of the highest rates of participation, and how the return of the license has been highly anticipated. That's an understatement, by iRacing members and IndyCar series fans alike. But the most important thing, other than the kind of boilerplate PR statements that get written for people, is the very bottom here. One, it's the return of the iRacing Indianapolis 500. Second, the return of IndyCar series branding of series on iRacing. So no more US Open Wheel C, no more US Open Wheel B, for example. That's gone. Then there's a bullet point on multiple leaks to run IndyCar series events on iRacing. So I'm kind of curious if that's going to mean more additional series compared to what we have now. Right now, there's only IndyCar Open, formerly US Open Wheel B, and IndyCar Fixed, US Open Wheel C. I'm curious as to are they going to add more series? Are they going to change those series? That's kind of yet to be determined. And the last bullet point, there's a license extension of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That one sticks out. I don't know exactly what that deals with, but that's a good sign, so I'll take it. And then it says the licensing agreement goes into effect immediately. iRacing members will see the rebranding of series, cars, and events over the coming days, and details of the iRacing Indianapolis 500 will be available later this month, #soon, I imagine. So all things considered now, with this news and everything that's happened, frankly, I'm just relieved. I'm finally glad it's back, and I cannot wait to run broadcasted races again for you to cheer us on in these races. I also want to take, once again, the time to acknowledge the fact that, again, I was wrong. Again, I didn't want to really go on a limb like I've seen some other people do, and frankly, it kind of got ridiculous at times. Yes, it's one thing to want to wish something would happen. We all want to wish something would happen, but it's another thing to then report it as, oh, my wish is factual evidence. It is coming back. I'll let you know when it does, kind of deal. I mean, did it really take an oracle to understand that Motorsport Games was not going to be able to produce a video game? Making statements to the effect in last spring, last summer, saying IndyCar is coming back and citing unnamed sources. And I say that not as a diss on journalists, but just as regular people who are not journalists, who are not reporters at all, saying, oh, I have evidence. No, I won't show you my evidence. No, I won't publicly put myself out there by publishing an article with these uncited, unnamed sources. At that point, it just kind of becomes speculative fiction. And that's not what I wanted to do with anything that I put out, especially in a video. And that's in part why I was rather cautious when I made that video 2 months ago. I mean, I could have gone the other direction. I could have just made these vague statements and have a self-fulfilling prophecy and claim, oh, look at this vague thing I said. I've predicted the future, just like Nostradamus. People thought Nostradamus was predicting the future because he's writing these quatrains, they were called, and they're so broad that you could look upon them and think, oh, that fits an event, therefore he predicted the future. You know what? I can show you how easy it is. Watch what I'm gonna do right now. Nostradamus had his quatrains, I've got my quatrains too. Encoded realms where circuits align, a silent pact in the binary design. Digital winds carry secrets unseen. Virtual partners, a destined dream. Boom. You know what I just predicted right there? IndyCar DWC. I don't have any evidence for it, but look upon this video in a year and a half from now, and if we somehow were to get it, I don't think we're gonna get it, I can be the oracle of iRacing IndyCar. How about this one? I'm gonna predict something else. In the digital realm where pixels soar, a top sim racing team seeks more. Silent whispers weave a coded pact. Esports partnership, a significant act. You know what I just predicted? Team I5G, Team Penske, Technical Alliance, IndyCar Esports, DWC 2025-2026. You heard it here first. So while I hoped I was wrong with all the statements I said 2 months ago, I hope I'm right with mine. I mean, I would like to see a DWC World Drivers Championship of IndyCar on iRacing. That's not really been there before. There's not been an official partnership between those two sides and having an actual pro series. Will that actually happen? Truthfully, I don't know. There has to be always money behind it and people putting effort into it. There has only been to my mind one official iRacing IndyCar pro series, and it wasn't even really a pro series. There was something called the Premier Series back in 2012, and that ran for a year, and it was kind of done after that. If the idea was IndyCar is entering into that license with Motorsport Games to have high-level esports, you would imagine they would still want to do it. I don't know if they're going to, but again, I hope that they would. That's certainly something the team would be interested in. I have to face facts too, though, that if that were to happen, for me personally as a competitor, as a driver, yeah, I do perfectly fine on ovals. I think I'm pretty good on ovals. But if it's a split series schedule, well, I'm going to be struggling on road courses compared to actual professional esports people. So if something like that were to ever happen, we would certainly give it a try. I would like to think I could qualify, but that would really be quite the challenge for me, I feel. The one thing that does remain attainable for me personally, and for everyone on the team though, is to once again win the iRacing Indy 500. We've won the race 2019 to 2022, 4 years in a row. No other team can say they've done that. No other team can say we've won as many broadcasted iRacing Indy 500s as we have. And we think it would be really cool if we would be able to win 5 straight. Well, 5 sequentially, because there was not one in 2023, but you get what I'm saying. And like I said when this all went down a year ago, the reason why I got mad that it happened was IndyCar was making a decision that basically was not going to help grow the sport. Motorsport Games, the license they had, it's so weird saying, using past tense, had produced nothing. I would have actually liked to have seen something because I want to see the sport grow. What happens with the console game was kind of left to be determined. I still hope that eventually IndyCar can find someone to make that console game because I want to see the series grow through a console game, and I think the series can grow through iRacing. Is it going to dramatically increase numbers? We have to be realistic and say no, probably not, but it is better than doing nothing like they were doing before with motorsport games. So with the announcement being so fresh, there's not like a whole lot I can provide more for you in terms of news. We kind of have to wait and see when the iRacing Indy 500 actually is. I presume it will be in May, like it always has been, but they've run it in different months before. Most notably 2014, it was actually held in July for reasons. But I'm mostly excited because there's some content that I wanted to make related to iRacing IndyCar for this channel that I probably could have made and not get in trouble, but I've kind of held back and waited until I can finally make it. So I'm going to make that video soon, #soon, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. But overall, again, this is a great day in my opinion for sim racing, and what I also really hope I hope that means that IndyCar and Automobilista 2 can also work again, because they were on the verge of having their own Dallara R18, and they had to stop it in November 2022 for unknown reasons at the time that then became much clearer the next month. So I think it's an overall good thing for sim racing, not just iRacing, but sim racing as a whole, which is what I like. I'm not exclusive to one platform. Yeah, this is basically an iRacing channel, but like I like all forms of sim racing. And I want sim racing to grow, and this change should help sim racing grow. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry that there's been a lack of videos recently. A lot of the driving videos have not happened, mostly because I've been quite frustrated with my old pedals and it wasn't very fun to drive. I have some new pedals now, so hopefully you'll be seeing some more driving videos in the future and other videos as well. Until next time, I will see you later.